Hello, everybody. Today is November 20th, 2013. This is Season 2 of Beacon 147. It's Episode 3 time. Let's go ahead and get this baby started.
All right.
All right, everyone. We're back for our next episode. This is Thomas.
Hello, my name is Bobby.
And we've got some great news. For those of you that have been following along on the Robert Space Industries website, it is the anniversary ship sale. This is your opportunity for this week, starting Monday of this present week, so about 2 days ago. They started their anniversary sale where they're going through and listing for 1 day only, except for the weekend, each of the limited edition ships. And that's not all of them, but there's a good set here. On my list here that I have, Monday they released the M50, the Origin M50. That was available again for the 1 day. The M50, for those of you that don't remember, it's a ship dedicated to speed. It's kind of like the 350R, but more so for speed.
Yeah, it's the Interceptor, right? That's what they're calling it, like an M50 Interceptor.
Yep. And for those of you that did want the 350R, that was available Tuesday. And they also had the light speed package with that. So if you didn't want to have a, Aurora in your fleet or anything like that, you just wanted to get the game in the 350, that was available to you. Today is the Caterpillar, which is a pirate cargo-y type vessel. And tomorrow, Thursday, they'll have the Aurora LX available for 1 day. That's, the standard Aurora with the leather seats.
The patent leather seats.
Yes, the patent leather seats. Starting Friday, and this will be going on through Saturday and Sunday, this is your chance to get those. This is your chance to get the Gladiator and the Retaliator. So those will be available all weekend. So you've got your bomber and then your bigger bomber.
Those things are some badass looking ships, man.
They are. I mean, those I like a lot. It's hard to say. Like I keep thinking like. I really like the look of the Origin ships, and it's like, yeah, but I really like the Anvil ships as well.
A two-seater bomber? Come on, that is.
Yep, and then Monday, the only ship that I haven't purchased yet out of all of these, and I'm going to have to get on Monday, is the Starfarer. At the time that the Starfarer was up for sale, I kind of bought something else that was a little expensive. So,
now, this sale, though, this is unlimited quantities, right? This isn't like, oh, hey, there's only 1,000 available. It's just, hey, however many we sell is however many we sell, right?
That's right. So on the website here, on the article where they talked about it, there's something that I think that kind of needs to be read here. On November 26th, we're going to start the second year off with a bang. Chris Roberts and the Star Citizen team will be hosting a 4-hour live stream event starting at 11 a.m., which will feature the latest news and, all that fun jazz. Now, this is the part that it's really important here to mention. Like the original group, they're going to have, or the original live series, they're going, live streams. I can't speak English anymore. They're going to have some special edition ships up for sale. And there will be limited numbers of the Idris P Corvettes available in those special edition ships. And they're going to be they're going to be doing these in hour intervals. So to try to space it out a little bit to give some people a different more opportunities to potentially get into that. So and what is it? November 26th. That's here in the States. 2 days before Thanksgiving? So
yep.
A lot of people are going to be off from work, and I bet you that stream is going to be jam packed. They know that they're going to have a ton of people watching. So
yeah, those streams you'll also see. Especially during that 1 day. I know they've been having the ship sales, throughout the last couple of days. And if you look at their site, you can see the little graph. It's like how much, how many people backed and pledged during the different days. During those stream days, those numbers skyrocket.
Oh yeah.
And the ships that they're likely going to bring back, the limited edition or special edition ships, they cost a pretty penny, man. But there are very few of them going to be in the release game, and be kind of cool to have one. Just saying. Yeah,
I mean, this is definitely your opportunity. I forgot to mention they are going to have the Super Hornet available over the weekend as well. So in addition to the Gladiator and the Retaliator, the Super Hornet will be there. So if you want your ridiculous ship with the two, huge guns on the over above behind the passenger seat there, you'll get.
We were talking about this the other day. There's photos of people out there who have gone in and edited the Super Hornet and taken the two huge miniguns on the top and then just like added like 3 or 4 more copies of it along the wings, so that it doesn't even look like it would fly if it was an atmosphere. Oh my god, it's hilarious.
I mean, if you're devoted to kicking ass and taking names, I think you start to, if I launch it from space on a carrier, aerodynamics no longer matters.
Yeah.
Let me.
Every single time you pull the trigger, your ship gets blown backwards.
The recoil on the ship knocks you back at light speed.
That's right.
Good Lord. So, well, since they started this sale, we did hit another milestone: $28 million in backing. And, that's incredible. You were talking about some of the new pledge goals that are going to be available. Fill me in on that.
Oh man, let me tell you this. I think it's 31 million. They're going to release a pleasure cruise, like a cruise liner that you can buy, and it's like a multi-decked ship with tons of outer windows. Like I think what they're saying is like some of the walls of the ship on one of the decks is going to be all windows. So it's it's designed for you to go in, just go for a cruise, relax, look out all the windows, see space, see everything that's around you. I have a feeling it's probably not going to have weapons, and it's just designed for going out and having fun. Oh, and it has a little what they're calling a little boat on it that you can kind of go and take out. A dinghy and take it out for a cruise. That's cool. And yeah, it'd be kind of nice to just fly around, orbit a planet and just kind of have a dinner party in space.
Yeah, keeping in line with the Origin designs, it's going to be the Origin 890. So I mean, Origin's the group that brought us to the 300. Some of the the BMWs, if you will, as they've called them. So it's going to be definitely one of the more high end ships. So high visibility windows. I mean, it's going to be a nice ship. You were saying one of the use cases for it's just a pleasure cruise. It could also be used as target practice. But
yeah, I'm sure some of them will be. It'd be nice though. All of those features and everything are great, but to have a ship like that, you really need to hire NPCs because you need a butler on that type of ship.
Somebody needs to run around in the Princess Leia slave girls and carry outfits.
Yeah.
And, bring us drinks. So.
But I was thinking, on one of those ships, those would be like good. Hey, we're gonna have. Of course, this is more like for our peers and that kind of thing. But it'd be kind of nice to have, meetings and stuff on there. Let's all go hang out on the on the cruise yacht thing, and have a powwow and have some fun.
I mean, thinking about the RP, I mean that's a good place for your clan, fleet, guild, corporation meetings,
religious organization.
Yeah, sure. Services.
It's a good place for all the retros to get together and have a church service.
I can see the hardcore groups using it as a diplomacy vessel. Kind of like that. Remember the in the new Battlestar Galactica series?
Yes, at the very beginning, like they came in from this side, they came in from this side. There's a table in the middle.
Oh god, I could just see the hardcore RPers just going to town and having fun with that. So one of the cool things too, they put up a poll, and I think it's worth taking a look on the poll. What role would you like to see for a future Star Citizen ship?
I'm not surprised.
Whole bunch here. Which one, before we go into the results, which one did you go with? Which one do you think you're most excited about?
The information trader, I think that's the one I went with. Because it just seemed unique. Like I've never heard of that before. So that you would think that that's going to be like a small, fast, I want to deliver messages, like a courier type of ship. Right. So I kind of went with something like that because I thought it'd be unique. Because everything else is like, it's something that you've always heard of. It's something that every space game has, Right. So I was the unique snowflake here and went with the information trader.
Honestly, I think I went with the information runner as well. I think that's it's just unique. They have choices from your combat, bounty hunter, exploration, trading, cargo hauling, smuggling, piracy, information runner, racing, mining, and salvage. But I think it's just really unique to have the information runner. I mean, I could just see someone grabbing intel and having to get it across one end of the star system to another quickly and silently.
Maybe a small ship that has a jump drive, or that can that doesn't necessarily have to be to jump gate to travel to the next system, or something crazy. It's just something like a get in, get out fast type of thing.
Yeah. No. The two most popular choices currently are mining and salvage.
Obviously,
mining is at about 29% at the time of recording, and salvage is about 21%. But to me, that seems a no-brainer. They're going to have to some extent, a mining and a salvage vessel.
You don't want to sit out in an asteroid field mining in your 350, your 300i,
sitting out there in your Aurora 890. Or
the pleasure yacht.
The Origin 890. Well, we've got all these wonderful windows, so everyone can now see inside of our cargo hold and see all of the things that we have.
We called you all here on this lovely cruise, but we kind of need more gas. So here's a spacesuit. Jump out and help us collect some rocks.
Right. And hopefully no one will see all of our cargo in there and see, furthering our target practice thing.
That makes me wonder. I'm sure it's going to be this way. I mean, I hope it's going to be this way. But if I'm flying my ship around next to the car, this yacht, and I look over, am I going to see people walking around in this thing?
I hope so.
That would be so freaking amazing.
It makes sense because when in a lot of the gameplay video, we see the pilots in the cockpits of rival ships,
right?
Or the ships that are flying in your wings. So
I just wonder if those are like once you get into space, if that model is going to be just a generic pre-rendered thing, or if it's actually going to be you. Like I can nose to nose our two ships, and we see each other in whatever outfit or whatever that we're wearing. Oh,
I mean, but at the same time too. I mean, it's even if it is a uniquely rendered character model that does that. The motions are in league with what the ship is doing. If you're turning right, you're going to be throwing your joystick in a given direction, or forward, backwards, up and down. So the character motions are in sync with what the ship is doing. On a pleasure yacht, on the other hand, someone could be walking around with a martini while someone else is sitting there, smoking a cigar. So I
want to do that. Like I want to see you or someone else flying around outside and just kind of tip my glass, like, thank you for escorting us. And I want them to see me do that. It's like a wink or a salute, or whatever,
someone sitting on a couch petting it, like a cat or something. Like,
yes. Oh, look, Thurston, there's our escort. I want to see that. That'd be amazing.
That would be. I'm trying to think of a game where you have that mechanic where you can see in a moving vessel, like you always see in or something like that. But I'm trying to think if there's ever really been something like that.
In the very first cinematic they released, they have the flyby camera of the Bengal carrier, and they have like you can see the admiral or whatever standing up tall, like through the glass, and you can see people inside. The only thing is I don't know if those are those pre-rendered or pre-programmed things just to make it look like there's activity, but you really can't see in because maybe that's like a different instance or something, being on board a ship rather than being in space. So
I don't know. Thinking about the Bengal carrier too, when the bay opens or whatever. I mean, imagine how cool it would be to kind of see the pilots getting in their ships and the tanks moving around, refueling, and I think it would just add that immersion level that's just missing. I don't think the game would be terrible without it, but I think it'd be awesome to have it.
I was just thinking about this. If they're going to do EVAs, I think this has to be in there.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can get out of your ship and go do a repair on your transcontinuum malfunction or whatever,
widgets.
Yes, your widget. Someone can obviously see you outside of your ship when they pull up next to you, right? So I guess maybe they've already kind of got that.
Maybe
we haven't seen it, but
we say we haven't seen it, but I'm almost certain someone will send us an email or a picture or a video saying,
in this obscure video that was released limited 3 weeks ago on this website.
If you would reference this forum post that was made at this time and this date, you will see where they talked about the red ship thingy and it's a placeholder and a bar.
Yeah. well, thank you people for pointing all that stuff out. It's appreciated.
It is appreciated. It's literal internet. You've got to poke at the literal internet.
Yeah. I just I don't watch every video. I'm a huge fan, but I don't scour the forums 24/7.
Well, okay, we're one person. Individually, we are one individual. There are thousands of backers, hundreds of developers, hundreds of forum posts. We can't catch everything. We're gonna.
It's a full-time job.
Yeah,
it's like a full-time job for a crew of people. Right.
I mean, you need a newsroom, a CNN Star Citizen desk, where they watch and monitor all these things. So yeah.
Speaking of which,
okay,
they're building one of those for Chris, right? I've been seeing some pictures on Sandy's Facebook page where they're trying to build a little video studio for him to have his own little video that I think they're going to incorporate into Wingman's Hangar, or it might be a separate thing. I don't know.
I think they're going to incorporate it into Wingman's Hangar. It might be segments, but they talked about having a couple of the different studios doing their weekly, updates and things like that. And that's been one of our pledge goals. I think that we surpassed that.
Yeah,
we have kind of more of those things. So I think they're kind of in that stage of getting everything.
I was looking at. They had like a whiteboard where they were trying to figure out what name or whatever they were going to pick for it, and there were some pretty unique ones. I think the more common ones were like the briefing room, and I don't know. I put one up there. I thought it was kind of goofy, but it was CNN, the Citizen News Network. Shout out to CNN, I guess. Maybe, I don't know.
Facepalm.
But yeah, right. But there were some really unique ones out there, and I kind of hope they take what the community's saying to heart and kind of, I don't know, it'd be nice to have the show named something that the community came up with.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. So we put a question up. You put a question up earlier this week on YouTube. And for all of you that subscribe to us on our audio and video feeds through your podcatcher of choice, Beacon 147 search, which you can do if you're watching on the YouTube feeds. We occasionally will post, those audience questions out there. We did in the past with the controller battle. What will be your way to pilot your ships? What was your question this time?
With the dogfighting module coming out, next month, what ship do you see yourself flying in the most?
My answer to that for the dogfighting module. Okay, so the dogfighting module is dedicated to me fighting somebody else.
Yeah.
It's not dedicated to exploration, to anything like that. No cargo, no pleasure yachting. Nope. Although it'd be kind of fun to dogfight in a pleasure yacht. The obvious choice is Super Hornet. If you have, and they've kind of mentioned, it's been alluded to, that during the dogfighting module, it's not just the ships in your hangar. You're going to kind of have a more expansive catalog. To choose from. So I think the obvious answer is the Super Hornet. But is it the best answer?
I don't know. We had some responses. A couple people said, they'd fly their Hornet, followed by their Legionnaire. I love the Legionnaire, man. I got that thing. That's probably what I'm going to do. One person said their Constellation. That's a pretty big ship for the dogfighting module.
I think the Constellation, though, if you can bring in your buddies to fly with you, and someone flies that Merlin, I think you'd be able to put up a pretty decent fight against the Super Hornet, because you kind of got that attacking from both multiple directions.
Yeah.
So I wonder. Being viable if you.
It just seems like
with you.
It just seems like the Connie. Well, yeah, that's the key right there, and it just seems to me like the Connie is such a big, slow, that something like an Aurora would just freaking run circles around it.
Right. Now, we're also thinking, too, of the Connie in its current non-variated state. They are going to have some variants of it. So I'm thinking that, perhaps almost definitely there'll be a military variant of the Constellation. Why wouldn't there be? Right.
Now, I wonder, though, if they did that, still, it's still a big ship, right? God, how would you even classify? If they're calling an Idris a Corvette, typically Corvettes aren't big. They're usually smaller compared to the larger capital type ships. You know, Akani, it's like an in between type of thing.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, it's not going to be a 300. It's not going to be, you know, I just can't see something that big, you know, turning on a dime, you know, like some of those other ships.
Right. I mean, and there's got to be the trade-off. You know, I mean, we when you think of space, and you can, you know, draw from parallels in science fiction, you know, we know aerodynamics are essentially pointless in space.
Yep.
We're already in space, and so we're already disbelieving a little bit of energy coefficients and things like that. We essentially have infinite energy in space,
right?
You know, because we're traveling faster than light in cases. So when you draw comparisons to, let's say, the Star Trek universe, you've got Borg cubes. You don't
and the spheres and stuff.
I mean, there's essentially no aerodynamic properties of a Borg cube.
I've read though that, and of course, I don't know all the details of why they said this, but a lot of people believe that the Borg ship designs are some of the most efficient in just construction alone than any other, you know, sci-fi spaceship that's ever been, you know, developed. And I don't know the reasoning behind that, but I just think I hear it from tons of people.
Right. I mean, it's infinitely expandable without compromising its. You know, if you have a, you know, like a starship, you know, like the Enterprise, you know, from Next Generation, the Galaxy class, you can't really add anything to that. You know, like
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, whereas as a cube or a sphere, you can add another deck on top of it and not break the properties. With the sphere, it's a little bit different. Just put a layer around it, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
So the cube would allow you to do that. So I think that, but the point I was getting to was, because you're in space and you have these, you know, aerodynamic properties don't matter. Essentially, infinite energy. I mean, the game is not going to allow us to have infinite energy, but essentially infinite energy. Aerodynamics don't matter. Infinite mobility, you know, in any direction.
Yeah.
Size of ship wouldn't necessarily relate to a lack of mobility. Because, you know, you don't have aerodynamics, you don't have energy constraints, you don't have any of that. So it wouldn't necessarily matter how big your ship is to determine maneuverability. So I think that because of the fact that they have to limit that, you have to suspend that. Okay, well, yes, this all really doesn't matter. The smaller ships are going to have to be more maneuverable than the larger ships, just so there's a balancing factor. So I do think that you're right, that the Constellation is going to be just a slower tactical
Now, if you
ship.
get multiple people on that thing and there's turrets and all kinds of crap going on, yeah.
Yeah, it's just, regardless of how good your computer is, that person there being able to make those decisions on the fly without calculating the, you know, odds, it's just what their gut tells them, those emotional decisions, it's almost always going to be better if they're competent than any computer. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see what. So your Legionnaire is going to be your ship, you think, for the dogfighting module?
I'll try the Freelancer, but it's definitely going to be the Legionnaire.
Yeah. Which kind of brings up that point, you know.
With my upgraded Badger gun that I bought with my 12,000 credits.
Yeah.
So I will be slightly superior than the average Legionnaire.
Right. I mean, that's cool. I mean, that's one of the things that, you know, it's enabling us to do through Voyager Direct. You know, and even if you've bought, you know, another ship, if the hard points match, you can rip the guns off of that ship, put it on another one. If your energy coefficients all work, you can go to town and really customize your vessels in the dogfighting module. But
now I heard a nasty little rumor though.
Okay.
And I want to know what you've heard. But I've heard that, you know, they're really trying their best to get the dogfighting module out this year. And I think they've committed to that pretty well. I've heard that the initial implementation of it, or the initial release, may not be multiplayer. I
don't know. I wouldn't be surprised.
You know, in the limited time that I you know, can spend, you know, reading the forums, or maybe I saw this on Reddit. I'm not exactly sure, so take it with a grain of salt. But I've read that it's a possibility that the first iteration of the dogfighting module may not be multiplayer.
So will it just be you fighting AI, or are you like targeting asteroids or something?
I don't know, man. Maybe it's just maybe the because they started with the hangar module, right? And you got all your ships and everything, but they've added things to it over time.
Right.
I'm thinking, they'll try to, they've committed to getting the dogfighting module to us, this year. So I'm pretty sure that that's going to happen. But I don't know if the multiplayer stuff's going to be there because that's a pretty big aspect. We haven't had multiplayer yet on the hangars, and I want to say that they said that they were going to try to do that. So I don't know maybe it's going to be like the dogfighting patch to the hangar module, so you can actually get in your ship and launch and fly.
Right.
But multiplayer, I think, is going to be one big thing that happens that creates the multiplayer for the hangar and the multiplayer for the dogfighting, and it just kind of links it all together. So, I mean, if I were a designer, that's how I would do it. Maybe that's why I'm not a designer, but or a developer. But I don't know. Okay. I just heard a nasty little rumor.
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. Hopefully that does not happen. But either way, though, I'm so damn excited for the freaking dogfighting modules coming out. I don't even think I'd care. If it came out, I could fly my ship and blow up AI, or hell, even if I'm just flying around in the default, scenario that they put up, that's where the Bengal carrier flies around and you're just flying around with random asteroids and crap. I think I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, I really would like to see now that you've mentioned it, I think I'd be comfortable with having that option of having a
just flying a random
type
thing
scenario, and then a combat type scenario where you had to, shoot AI or, random players.
Yeah.
So
hope, I'm just excited. I don't know. Looking forward to it.
We wanted to talk just briefly about an article that was on Kotaku about an interview that they had with Chris Roberts about Star Citizen ever coming to consoles, and I think now's probably one of the best times to talk about it because we had the PlayStation 4 released Friday, and we have the Xbox One coming out this Friday.
Yep.
I can say with embargoes being lifted that I have played both consoles, and I'm impressed. Killzone graphically is the most stunning game I've ever seen. Now, of course, you're at 1080p resolution, so I'm sure if it was not played on a 4K monitor, it would look like garbage, or if a PC was pushing that game, it would look far better on a PC. But as far as any game that I have seen, released, unreleased, in betas I can't talk about, there is no game that graphically at this point in time looks better other than Star Citizen. But it's gorgeous. I mean, and I could see how after playing a game like that, people would start to go, well, why can't Star Citizen be on the new consoles? And the points that Chris was making are pretty solid. I mean, you mentioned, we were talking about it. You mentioned some of his challenges with it about the DLCs and things like that.
Yeah, he was basically saying that in order for him to be able to have his vision realized, I guess, for what Star Citizen is, and it be on a console, they would need more open access to do things that that Sony and Microsoft really don't let developers do. He was wanting he needs to have more control, I guess, for what he wants Star Citizen to happen, and he doesn't feel like that would ever really happen on a console.
And we can take a look at, I mean, obviously the hardware requirements are not fully there on a console to make it happen, but they're close. I mean, and they're on the cusp of being able to play Star Citizen, not in 4K glory, but there.
Although, with the whole mantle thing and the, I'm almost positive both
chips are
PlayStation. Yeah, so I mean, if they implement if the hardware in those consoles is compatible with the Mantle API, which I think they both are, and Star Citizen is going to support Mantle, maybe if they tune it just right, it could happen. But it doesn't look hopeful, especially when You know, the first quote from Chris is Star Citizen is a PC game. It will never be dumbed down to a lesser for a lesser platform.
Right.
I don't. To me, it almost sounds like he doesn't want to do it.
I would agree with that. I mean, he's PC game first, but I mean, more than the technical limitations are often what's cited when this game it could be in a hypothetical world be ported over to a console, and people are looking at the tech specs on these consoles, and theoretically it could potentially be possible to play them.
Right.
But more so than the hardware, more so than that, the issue that I think that Chris really has is the issue of being able to, okay, we want to release a patch for this. There's something that needs to come out. The typical process is certification for consoles. You send it off to Microsoft, you send it off to PlayStation, they tinker with it and prove that it's not going to break anything, and then send it back and say, yeah, we can do it, or no, we can't. We have seen how that has really screwed up games.
Oh, yes, we have.
I mean, we've talked about it before, but Defiance is a perfect example of a game where, well, PlayStation was okay with it, Xbox wasn't. So the patch got delayed for PC, PlayStation, and Xbox because Xbox was
all three of them were delayed because they didn't want to give it to two avenues of gameplay and not the one.
Right.
Pain in the butt.
Yeah. So in PC, by its very nature, is an open platform. You come in, you do what you want, you make software for it, you're good to go. It's the legacy of PC. It's what it is. Consoles follow more of the Apple iOS mentality. It's a gated community. We're only going to let those in that we want in, and everybody else can sit out to the side. And if you want to be let in, we'll let you in if you meet our qualifications. But that application process is going to take some time.
Yeah.
So, arguably they each have their ups and their downs. But I really think that for a game like this, it's more, they don't want to be limited. They don't want to have to dumb it down. They don't want to have to do that. So,
well, I'm certainly I would be happy, and a lot of console gamers out there might shun me for this or whatever, but I would be happy if they did not release it for console because of the delays that are going. It would happen. There's no way around it. I mean, it is going to happen if they release it on 3 different platforms or 5 different platforms. Now they couldn't do it on the older ones, but but it just, I think it would affect, the main crowd for Star Citizen are PC gamers, right? So you put it out on consoles and you say, oh, hey, sorry, that awesome patch with that new awesome ship that you guys want, it's going to take 2 extra weeks because
we have to reduce the number of polygons so it doesn't create a memory leak on the Xbox or the PlayStation.
Yeah, exactly. So I would be happier if it didn't happen. Sorry, console folks, but
I am a PC Mac person. I have both in my life. I'm a PC gamer and a console gamer. I have them both in my life, and I have equally enjoyable experiences across platforms. And the benefit for me of it being on a console, and it's possible with a PC who's get a home theater PC. I know that it's $400 to $500. There is no cheaper way to have that high-end piece of hardware in your living room that will play games for the next decade.
Yeah.
Period. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's just not. You will not get a PC today for $500 that will play AAA titles for the next decade. It won't happen.
It's true.
And that is a set it and forget it box. You plop a disc in, you're good to go. So I do enjoy that experience. I also really enjoy, for certain titles, a controller interface.
Yep.
And I think for a flight sim and space sim game, if you don't want to have, the joystick or HOTAS setup, a controller is a very inexpensive cost to get you in that and to get you into something a little bit, I don't want to say more sophisticated than mouse and keyboard because nothing matches the precision of a mouse and keyboard, but when you're toggling things in 3 dimensions, having 2 thumbsticks is a little bit better than having a two-dimensional surface that you're sliding a mouse on.
Yep.
So that to me
can
would be,
imagine
I
that,
would
yeah.
enjoy that experience with a controller, which I know I can plug into my PC, and I'm going to plug it into my PC, and I'm going to play it on my PC. But it would be nice to go out in the living room, just have a couple buddies over. We're already playing, a Madden game or something like that. Switch titles and say, hey, have you guys heard of this game? This game's fucking badass. And not have to go, okay, well, hold on, everybody. Let's all go in the office and take a look at this title because it's really cool. But give me a few seconds. I got to boot up, and I don't know. There's that appeal that we could get more people, excited about the game. And at the end of the day, that to me is what I want. I want more players, a richer community, and you will get that on the consoles. It may not be a good community, but you'll get a bigger, richer community, and to me, there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm perfectly happy with it being a PC-only game, and I'm not going to have a qualm about it. But I can definitely see after playing some of these launch titles and the second launch, or outside of the launch window games, how you're going to be wondering, for those of you that are on consoles, why can't my console play this? Because my console can play some amazing looking titles.
I think that they could. I think that the consoles could play this if they did the programming and everything right. But you still go back to the can we all be in the same universe thing,
right?
And that, oh my god, that is, I don't know why, but it's just such a pain in the ass.
Yep.
For that to happen.
Yeah, and a lot of those things are supposed to be remedied. They're all on the x86, architecture now. So there's, you're not having to support PowerPC, cell processor, x86, server environments to make everything kind of mesh. And so theoretically, these new consoles are more and more like PCs than they've ever been before.
Yep.
And they're what's hot for this week in time. It's everyone wants one. So I think it's a conversation worth having, but I think at the end of the day, like you said, it's just not going to happen. It's for more than hardware reasons. It's just not going to happen. And for me, I'm okay with it. I think it would be awesome to have a Star Citizen Lite on the console, maybe just the Squadron 42, on the console.
That's not a bad idea. If they just did Squadron 42, because they could port it to console and it'd be the single player universe, and you can buy the DLC or the mission discs and stuff like that. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. That would be to me the ideal way of doing it, because we're never gonna have that wonderful environment where anybody who's on a console, whether it's PlayStation or Xbox or whatever, and everyone on a PC are going to be on the same server and have a consistent, smooth experience across the board. It's never going to happen. So, but you can isolate that when you're controlling what the player is seeing, and it's not other players controlling what that player is seeing, you can have a lot more of a consistent experience. So
cool.
Those are my two thoughts on it. So that's all I really have.
Yeah, same here.
All right. Well, I will talk to you guys later.
I'm looking forward to an awesome couple weeks in Star Citizen. Everybody have a good Turkey Day.
Yeah.
And we will see you in a couple weeks.
See you guys. Enjoy your holiday.